Welcome back, folks. We want to turn now to Arizona, where cult mom Lori Daybell was back in court today for a hearing for her latest trial. She is once again representing herself at trial in Arizona, this time on charges she conspired in an attempt to kill her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux. Now, prosecutors allege Lori and her brother, Alex Cox, yes, the same brother who killed Lori's fourth husband, Charles Vallow. Together, they planned to kill Boudreaux in October of 2019. Court documents allege that Cox shot at Boudreaux outside his home. Boudreaux was not injured in that particular incident. The two planned the murder because they believed he had a quote-unquote dark soul. The same thing Alex and Lori believed about Charles Vallow. Well, during today's hearing, Lori took issue with her name being included on the jury questionnaire and then got into a little spat with the judge and even told him she wants him to recuse himself. Let's listen in.
Your Honor, in light of the juror misconduct or the alleged juror misconduct, I have to object to us having so much information go out about my personal information in that jury questionnaire. Do you not think that was a problem?
What personal information?
The state versus Lori Daybell.
It's the name of the case.
Yeah, but you don't put that on anyone else's questionnaire or one other person that's ever had that questionnaire ever put out with their name on it. They just don't do it.
I do it in every trial I've done. And
then the people are just going to Google it, and then we're going to have the same exact problem we had getting a jury for that case. We're going to have the same exact problem.
Are you done? Are you just going to keep... Okay, how do we screen for if people have heard about you if we don't include your name? Do you have a response to that?
I'm just saying, you gave them the name, and they're just going to Google it.
They're instructed not to Google it, all right? And if you'll recall, when we had all the jurors come in person, one of the first questions I asked them in the afternoon was, who has looked up this case since you filled out the questionnaire? And we had 2 or 3 people raise their hand, and those people were excused. So I have to include your name to screen out for the people that know about your case. And we released about 100 jurors last time because of their answers to that. If we don't include your name, that's 100 extra jurors we have to go through in person and ask if they know you. And in fact, that increases the risk of tainting the rest of the jury pool if we have someone stand up and say, yeah, I know about her case in Idaho where blah, 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 in front of the rest of the jurors. That'll burn the whole panel. We'll have to start over. So I'm going to include your name in the questionnaire. I don't think there was any other personal information or background information about you in that questionnaire other than your name. So was there any other issues you had with the questionnaire?
No, Your Honor.
So the schedule will be, we'll meet 1 p.m. to go over those answers on the 29th. On the 30th, we'll meet at 10. We'll have walk-in jurors that morning that will fill out the questionnaire, and then the people that survive are screening on the 29th, and those that survive the morning of the 30th will come in the afternoon of the 30th. This will be back in the courtroom we were in last time, 5D of the South Court Tower. Again, I expect to seat that jury at some point that afternoon, and then we'll plan on going Monday through Thursday, June 2nd to June 5th. Then June 9th to June 13th, and if need be, June 23rd.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I would have to ask that you would recuse yourself from the obvious personal bias that you have against me and send us to master calendar for this scheduling of a trial.
And what personal bias is that?
A lot, obviously, the personal bias that you're showing right now and that you've shown on the FTR several times during the trial.
Okay, well, I don't have any personal bias, all right? I've over-accommodated you on when you have to disclose things. In fact, your expert should be summarily precluded today, and I haven't done that, all right? So
you denied every single one of my motions for a year and a half that I've been here. Every single one of my motions has been denied. And have any of those motions not have merit? You've denied every single motion.
I think I was here this morning about 15 minutes ago when I granted your motion to meet with your attorneys over the lunch hour. I have granted other motions of yours. Okay?
That's the first motion that you've ever granted
Well,
in my behalf.
file motions that have a legal basis, and I might grant them.
So you're saying none of my motions have had merit?
Not many, no.
And none of the motions that my first team, you denied every one of my first team's motions, you denied every one of my second team's motions, and now you denied every one of my motions until today.
I haven't denied every one of your motions.
Every single one of their motions was denied, every single one of the second team's motions were denied, and all mine. So you didn't come into this with any bias against me in the first place?
Again, file a motion that has legal merit, okay?
And none of my attorneys ever filed a motion with any legal merit?
They filed a motion on your behalf, the first team, to preclude media coverage, and I issued my ruling according to the law, all right? They filed a motion to have you dressed out, not in jail clothes during hearings like this, okay? That was not based in law. I denied that motion. So I've ruled on the motions as required by law.
Without any kind of a conclusion of law in them, just denied, 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 denied. Does that not show a bias and a prejudice against one single person?
All right, are you done?
Are you not going to recuse yourself?
No, I'm denying your motion. Anything else?
I mean, you know, what can you say behind that? Daybell's trial actually begins May 29th. Our Court TV cameras will bring you all the courtroom moments. She faces a potential sentence of life in prison if convicted. Now remember, she's already serving life for killing her 2 youngest children and conspiring to kill her 5th husband's first wife, and she is awaiting another possible life sentence after being convicted in April for conspiring to kill her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. All right, let's bring back in our guest. Joining us, domestic violence expert, former law enforcement officer Claudia King. Claudia, look, it's a dangerous question. I'm asking you to get inside the mind of Lori Vallow. Ooh, that's a scary place. But anyway, just give me your impressions of what we just saw there. Don't mess with Lori Vallow. You know what I mean? You can just see the personality come through.
Yeah, she thinks very highly of herself. And I think she gets very upset when other people don't think as highly of her as she thinks of herself. I also do not approve of you asking me to get in her mind.
I apologize.
That is a crazy place to go. But yeah, I think she thinks she's the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, yeah. And what's interesting is I think this might be the perfect judge for her. I mean, the way he's handling her is just fantastic. At no point is he getting upset. I mean, he seemed a little perturbed there, but he's really just pointing out to her very calmly, look, you're not presenting anything with any legal merit, and I'm doing things according to the law.
He's being very factual. He's being short with his answers, concise. He's being polite and professional. And yes, I think there are some judges who might get a little more upset and let that anger show through. I think he's doing a great job. I don't know if he has a flask hidden behind his desk or in his office in the back. But yeah, I think he is fantastic.
I want to get your impressions. I know you followed that first trial. And I got to say, you know, I came away relatively impressed. I mean, clearly there were things that she missed. I certainly think if she had an attorney, things would have went better for her. I don't think she would have gotten off, but there were opportunities that were missed for sure. But I was impressed at her preparation and the way she went about things.
Absolutely. When you look at some of the other people that we've seen defend themselves recently, I think she's done probably one of the better jobs that we've seen.
I would agree.
She was certainly prepared. She did ask, generally speaking, some good questions. She did well with most of the witnesses. She definitely struggled with the woman that the ex-husband went out on a date with.
Well, see, that's the point I was going to make. What I think she was doing, and what we see today as well, is I think it was really for her all about personal grievances. She went after her brother. She went after the woman who dated her husband. And I think that really what it was all about for her, because the way she questioned them really had nothing to do with her guilt or innocence.
Right. She wanted to have her moment, to have her say. And this is the best way for her to do it, and on a grand stage, which we know is everything that she is about.
Yeah. And now this time around, I expect this trial to look a lot like the other trial, because essentially they're talking about this conspiracy to kill this guy. Now, he didn't get killed, obviously. But what they're going to do is basically the same thing, show the connection between Alex and her, the information, the texts going back and forth that put it out there that they felt he needed to be gotten rid of, and Alex was the one to do it.
Absolutely. I think this should be very similar to the last one. It seems pretty cut and dry to us. But yeah, I think it's going to be another airing of grievances, if you will,
Yes.
for Lori and whoever is on that stand that she feels like she needs to have that one last word with.
What do you make of the entire Lori Daybell, Chad Daybell saga? One of the things we've talked about so many times on this program is, who do we think the mastermind was? Initially, I thought it was her. The more I sat through Chad Daybell's trial, he's a sinister guy. And I think she was open to it. She was more than happy to go along with it. But I think he was the real mastermind. He was the one that wanted to come up.
I agree with you, and I think, yes, she was very willing to play into that. I don't think he led her. I think he just had an idea that she was very willing to accept. I think she enjoyed that power and control that she felt they had together, and seeing these people that they believed were dark and being able to get rid of them. I think she loved that. But I agree with you that Chad is the real mastermind here.
Yeah, and who wouldn't want to be a special being ahead of the 4,400? I don't know what it was, whatever it was. Who wouldn't want to follow that, you know? So, all right, well, we'll see what happens. Claudia, thank you so much for joining me today. Truly appreciate it. We'll